And welcome back to our live coverage of the baby races from Woodbine Mohawk Park. I am Greg Blanchard. Wonderful to have you all tuning in today on our various social media platforms. Want to remind you to make sure to stop by the COSA-TV YouTube page and subscribe today to view all of our content, including live and pre-recorded video content covering horse racing, not only here in Ontario, but all across North America. And we want to welcome all of you watching across North America today for the baby races, where the sun is shining here at beautiful Woodbine Mohawk Park. And we're just finishing up our intermission and getting ready for the back half of today's 13 race session. 7 pacing events still to come, all for 2-year-old fillies, and a field of 8 hitting the racetrack here for this group. Just saw Jody Jameson coming out with his charge. Number 2, Hailey's Little Comet, a Sunshine Beach filly from the no pan intended mare, St. Lad's Smokin' Hot. She was one of several in here who were qualifying a week ago. She was third in her debut, from rallied from well back in the early stages, and was in the fastest mile of that morning session. A 1:54.1 win time. She was third, beaten 6 lengths and charted in 55.2. She charged home in 27.1 for trainer Anthony Beaton and Jody Jameson, who was in the driver's seat on that day. So this daughter of Sunshine Beach already with a big mile under her belt, out for round 2 this week and has post 2 to work with. A look there at 7, Clover, hitting the racetrack, a Sports Rider filly. Sports Rider, the veteran Ontario stallion, really making his presence felt in the last couple of weeks. A number of his offspring have been qualifying impressively, so it looks like he's in store for another big year in the Ontario Sire Stakes program. There's 4, Barefoot and Pregnant, making her second appearance. She was 5th last week, charted in 2 minutes, 27.3 on the end. Team Mcnair, very busy this morning, and they send out this daughter of Shadow Play, second full from the Art Major mare, Barefoot Beauty. Mark McKelvey, he's standing by upstairs, and he'll be calling the action, of course, as he's been doing all day long. Mark, we talked about Casey Coleman and what she said last week when we had her on. She said the ones that we saw a week ago were kind of her second stringers. She was bringing the big guns out this weekend, and here's the first of them we're going to see, a betting line filly named Atilla Hanover. Atilla Hanover.
Yeah, look, very curious to see what the performance are from these ones this week. Not that I want to say she put a lot of pressure on them, but of course, hey, if these are her first stringers, well, we should have some good expectations for them. $55,000 Harrisburg by first full out of the Sun Beach Somewhere mare, Australia, Hanover. Goes from the rail, so we'll keep our eye on her here in this group. I'm thinking, by the way the conditions are, and maybe you've touched on this already, I think we're going to see a little more speed in the back half here from the pacing fillies. Wind has died down, flags aren't moving, and I think, too, with the work that's been done on the track between, we should see some good miles here, as these fillies should be ready to rock.
And some of the fillies have already been big time in terms of speed. Hailey's Little Comet in this field in particular is one that I mentioned. Already a charted line in 55.1 from a week ago with sub 28 second final quarter speed. So boy, if there's any improvement to today, who knows what to expect from her. So that's one that I would expect to see in the mix, just based on what we've already seen from her. But some others in here are intriguing. Most of them we have had a look at, so that makes Atilla Hanover maybe all the more intriguing in this spot. The betting line filly, getting our first look at her. Nice big good-looking filly. Had a peek at her heading out to the track. A $55,000 yearling, as mentioned. Australia Hanover, the second dam, the mother of this one, has already produced $1.2 million winner, Dynamic Youth. And the speedy, a positive Hanover, who's looked very good early in his 3-year-old campaign for his trainer, Blake McIntosh. So the filly pacers assembling in the backstretch, and they'll be getting set to go here momentarily. The starting gate just about set to move into position. It's a learning curve. It's that time where they're getting educated, and a filly that is going to, I think, appreciate that's the Better Than Cheddar filly, Cooler Than Colby. has had 3 qualifiers so far and a couple of miscues in the recent tries. So it's really a learning process. So we still have to keep that in mind with these youngsters. And here's a filly that fits that bill. Gate rolling for qualifier 7 from Woodbine Mohawk Park.
Time to resume with this morning's action from Woodbine Mohawk Park. 2-year-old pacing fillies for the 7th. Take out number 6, Cooler Than Colby, brings us down to a field of 7. Number 1, Atilla Hanover, is a betting line filly out of a Some Beach Somewhere mare, $55,000 Harrisburg buy. West Wind Stable and Domain Haven Farm, along with James Clark share ownership. Casey Coleman Hurley trains, Jonathan Drury steers. 2, Hailey's Little Comet, a Sunshine Beach filly out of a No Pan Intended mare. Thomas Dillon, Scott Dillon are the owners. Anthony Beaton trains, Jody Jameson drives, $20,000 Lexington buy. 3 is Sweet Coat. Gino Toscani owns, trains, and drives his daughter, a Sweet Lou, out of an Art Major mare, $20,000 Lexington purchase. 4 is Barefoot and Pregnant, a Shadow Play filly out of an Art Major mare, owned and bred by Jim Averett, trained by Greg Mcnair. Doug Mcnair drives. 5, Sporty, Robert McIntosh stables, owner breeder, Bob McIntosh trains, Trevor Henry drives, sports writer filly out of a Western Hanover mare. 6 is out, 7 is Clover, sports writer filly out of a Mach 3 mare, Larry Kelson, Robert Walton share ownership. William Hofacker is the trainer. Louis-Philippe Waugh drives. And 8 is Momo, Racing Hill filly out of a Western Hanover mare. The stable Momo Group owns. Jason McGinnis trains. Anthony McDonald drives. A $22,000 Ohio purchase. And they're off and pacing here in qualifier number 7. And driving hard off the wings of the gate is Sweet Coat as she'll charge out to the early lead. Hailey's Little Comet gets away in second. Crossing over is Momo into third. Outside here is Clover, and she's just going to work her way towards the front for Waugh. Getting away in fifth, that is Barefoot and Pregnant, followed 6th by Atilla Hanover, and Sporty is 7th. Into the first turn they go. It's Sweet Coat, the leader, and now instead of going up towards the lead, there's a 3-hole to drop in for Clover. Opening quarter, 30-2. Into the backstretch, it's Sweet Coat on top. In second is Hailey's Little Comet. Racing in third is Clover in front of Momo in fourth. Fifth is Barefoot and Pregnant. Atilla Hanover is 6th. And then a break at 2.5 back to Sporty, who is in 7th. No movement here in the second quarter as they race up towards the half. Sweet Coat and Gino Toscani are showing the way. Hailey's Little Comet looks to track her right there in the deuce as they're past the half in 1 minute and 2/5. 30 seconds even in the second quarter. As they go into the far turn, we start to get a little bit of movement in mid-pack. Barefoot and Pregnant gets her cue to go from Mcnair. Up at the front, it's Sweet Coat by 1.5 lengths. Hailey's Little Comet in second. Barefoot and Pregnant now is rushing up, is going to latch on to a little bit of cover. As out of the 2-hole comes Hailey's Little Comet. Stacked up third over is Momo. 3 wide Sporty from the back. Inside that is Clover, and Atilla Hanover is last. 3/4 time, 1:29.4. Off the turn and into the stretch. Right along the pylons is Sweet Coat. Here is Hailey's Little Comet. Barefoot and Pregnant looking to find a bit more. Far outside is Sporty. Momo in behind. Inside is Clover, and Atilla Hanover is behind a wall of horses. Less than 1/8 of a mile to go. It's Hailey's Little Comet with the lead. Barefoot and Pregnant not going away. She's still working away on the outside. She's half a length away trying to get up, and it's going to be Barefoot and Pregnant to get it. Barefoot and Pregnant over Hailey's Little Comet. Momo was third. Time of the mile, 1:58.1.
Barefoot and Pregnant reaching up in the final strides to haul down the pace setter. Hailey's Little Comet, 1:58.1 the win time. And maybe struggling a little bit in the final quarter as the wind continues to gust, and I think it's hitting them pretty good head-on in the home stretch, Mark. So it might be a factor here as we watch the back half of the program. If that dies down, I'd expect to see some impressive times. What do you make of Hailey's Little Comet? We talked about that one, 55-1 a week ago, and reverts a little bit, certainly in the time department, and gets picked off in the late stages.
Yeah, I didn't think she was going to get picked off there. I thought it looked like she would hold on. As Barefoot and Pregnant, you got to give full props to that daughter of Shadow Play, as She really got on the march there, going to around the far turn, and ended up catching a little cover there late on the turn when Hailey's Little Comet came out of the 2-hole for Jamieson. But off that 2-hole ride, I thought Hailey's Little Comet looked poised to probably come through with another score, or with another good performance, I should say, and get a victory. But Barefoot and Pregnant ends up getting her at the line. I think both pacing fillies look good there to the finish, and we'll get the results in just a moment, that full order. But there's a couple other fillies there in behind coming on towards the end. Funny how the flags get going as soon as they go behind the gate. It really just dropped down. There didn't appear to be much wind, and then we get back to action and it picks up. But I think plenty to like from that 7th qualifier.
That's the benefit of being able to watch these races with our live coverage, and you know, we certainly are able to gauge that and how it changes and how it can change dramatically just throughout the course of a qualifying program. So you can keep that in mind when the fillies hit the racetrack for pari-mutuel action for the first time. So as part of our poll question, we asked you who you thought would be the top trainer in the OSS this year. Well, Greg Mcnair certainly has a great history. He has been the leading trainer in the program before, and looks like he's got another nice group on his hands this season, including Barefoot and Pregnant, winner in Qualifier 7. Turning our attention now to the 8th, we'll give Mark a moment to collect the rundown from our AGCO officials. Race 8, we've got a field of 7 scheduled to go postward. And there's a look at the entire group. Only 2 of the 8 here have faced the starting gate prior to today. Number 3, Always Watching. 5th a week ago, rallied from off the pace with 26-second final quarter speed. So that perhaps a better than normal 5th place finish in that qualifier. The King's Queen, the number 7, made a miscue early on, so her chances were squandered right off the bat, and she finished 7th. We'll look to rebound today. She's a sports writer filly by the Western Terror mare FB's Terror. So the rest are all first-timers, including number 1, Actions Delight, sent out by trainer Bob McIntosh. Louis-Philippe Roy will drive this daughter of Better's Delight from the Western Hanover mare Enchanted Beauty, who's already produced a trio of $100,000 plus winners in her career. We'll talk a little more about the 8 starters coming up next, but before that, here's Mark with the rundown from Qualifier 7.
Here's the order of finish from the 7th qualifier, and in the photo finish, it was number 2, Hailey's Little Comet, holding on for the victory. Top to bottom, number 1, Atilla Hanover 5th, number 2, Hailey's Little Comet, the winner. Number 3, Sweet Coat 7th, number 4, Barefoot and Pregnant 2nd, number 5, Sporty 8th, number 6 was Scratch, number 7, Clover 6th, and number 8, Momo was 3rd. Top to bottom, 5-1-7. 2-8 Scratch 6-3, fractions 30 and 2, a minute 2/5, 129 and 4, 158 and 1. Hailey's Little Comet prevails in the photo finish. A Sunshine Beach filly out of a no pan intended mare St. Lad Smokin' Hot. Thomas Dillon and Scott Dillon share ownership. Anthony Beaton, the trainer. Jody Jamieson in the sulky. $20,000 Lexington buy. First full out of that no pan intended mare.
So again, a field of 7 coming up next here in Qualifier 8, and they are on the backstretch now, just getting set to assemble behind the gate. Another one that we'll have a look at is number 2, Sea of Hope. Sea of Hope is a daughter of Captain Treacherous from the Rock and Roll Hanover mare Baez. Isabel Darvaux and Rob Shepard team up with this $45,000 yearling purchase. The second dam is Gothic Lady. She was a winner of almost $500,000 and has produced a $900,000 winner herself. So some pedigree if you go a little bit deeper on number 2, Sea of Hope. Starting gate rolling. Here's Mark with the call.
Race number 8 of this baby race session. 2-year-old pacing fillies, no changes, field of 7. Number 1, Actions Delight, is a Better's Delight filly out of a Western Ideal mare owned by Hut Racing Stable, Blake McIntosh, and 187-6472 Ontario Incorporated. Louis-Philippe Roy will drive an $18,000 Harrisburg buy. 2, Sea of Hope, Captain Treacherous filly out of a Rock and Roll Hanover mare, 1187422 Ontario Incorporated owns. Isabel Darvaux trains. Robert Shepard drives. $45,000 Lexington purchase. 3 Always Watching is a He's Watching filly of an Art Major mare. Wallace Standardbreds, Knobloch Racing Stable are the owners. Ben Wallace trains. Scott Young drives. $15,000 Lexington purchase. 4 Cyclone Sister. Shadow Play filly out of a no pan intended mare. Millar Farms are the owner breeders. Nick Galucci trains. Bob McClure will drive. 5 is Lions Vanquish. Big Jim filly out of an Arts Place mare. 3 Lions Racing owns. Mark Goddard trains. Trevor Henry will drive. 6 is Watching Cassie. He's Watching filly out of a Magical Mike mare. Mcnair Racing, Michael Guerrero, Larry Mcnair Anthony Beaton trains, Jody Jameson will drive. And number 7, the King's Queen, is a homebred for Harness Horsepower Inc. Greg Mcnair trains, Doug Mcnair drives. Here's a daughter of sports writer out of a Western Terre mare. So it'll be a field of 7 for qualifier number 8 as the starting gate approaches the top of the stretch. Gate picking up speed, and here they come. And they're off and pacing. Hard from the outside comes the King's Queen as she is right off the wings well and charging out to the early lead. Watching Cassie on the outside with Always Watching at the inside. There from the rail is Action's Delight. Then getting away in 5th is Sea of Hope, followed 6th by Cyclone Sister, and 7th is Lions Vanquish. Into the first turn, the King's Queen working to get to the top here, and she'll touch down on the lead at an opening quarter of 30-3. So the leader is the King's Queen. This daughter of sports writer fronts the field of 7 into the backstretch. Riding in second is Watching Cassie, and here comes a rush from third from Always Watching. Always Watching rushes up to the lead here. And Always Watching for Scott Young is going to take the lead in the second quarter. And this daughter of He's Watching pacing up the backstretch strong and is in command by a length and a half. King's Queen is in second, racing in third. Watching Cassie then back in fourth. That is Action's Delay with a big gap back to the final 3. The half was 58-4. That was 28-1 in the second quarter. So we got to go well back to the final 3. Lions Vanquish, Sea of Hope. And also in the mix there, Cyclone Sister. Heading towards 3 quarters. And it is Always Watching. And she's coming towards the third station, leading by 2 lengths at 3 quarters in 1:28-1. Turning for home. And here's Always Watching, trying to seal the deal. Back in second. That is the King's Queen in third. Racing there is Watching Cassie with a big break going back to Action Delight. Less than 1/8 of a mile to go, and it's Always Watching, and she's going to finish off the job here. She's on top by 3, extending the lead late, coming to the edge of the tote board. It'll be Always Watching to win. Second goes to the King's Queen. Third was Watching Cassie. Fourth was Action's Delight. Then it was Cyclone Sister, followed by Sea of Hope and Lions Vanquish, 157-3.
157-3 is the win time for Always Watching. Scott the Answer Young in the driver's seat for trainer Ben Wallace. Looks good again on the run out. That's something I like to see. After the race, they go another quarter of a mile or so and they still look strong. That's a positive sign. Daughter of He's Watching from the Art Major mare. Ravishing Masterpiece. Looking good, Mark. I'd say one of those efforts that catches your eye.
Definitely does. That second quarter rush to the lead is pretty impressive considering that it was 28-1 the race time for the second quarter. She's rushing third to first, so it's sub 28 speed. A little bit of wind at the back though to help, but that's not going to be too much of a factor in my opinion. She just looked good, and the way she did it, you talk about how she looks after the mile, that's a real good performance from this Ben Wallace trainee, using Scott Young in the sulkies, used him on some of his horses in the last year or so, and this daughter of He's Watching definitely catching our eye. She's got a flashy last quarter from her qualifier a week ago of 26 seconds flat. They were doing some sprinting home in that qualifier, and it's definitely up for debate. Was she 8 3/4 off at 3 quarters? But still, it's a sub 27 final quarter from her, and I think that definitely should have tipped us off that she'd be ready to rock here today, and there was no messing around when she got her cue to go.
What about Scott Young? Let's talk about him. Young, up-and-coming guy on this circuit. Really seems like he's had a breakthrough here in the last 6 months to a year.
Absolutely, sure has. And if you tuned into Racing Night Live on TSN a week ago, there was a little profile done on Scott Young. And again, it's not an easy driving colony to crack. He can tell you that for sure. It's something that when you get your opportunity, you have to take full advantage of them. That's what he did back in the winter. And you could see that his number of drives per night began to grow. I think coming back out of the shutdown due to COVID-19, I'd have to think that he probably was wondering just how many drives he would have coming back, and especially this time of the year. But he's had his fair share of drives over the last 3 weeks, and at the same time, if you latch on to a nice youngster like this, that's only going to help when it comes to how many you'll see your name on when the sheet comes out.
And it speaks volumes getting the vote of confidence from a guy like Ben Wallace with a youngster here in the qualifiers. So yeah, it bodes well for both horse and driver as we had a look at Always Watching, victorious in qualifier number 8. Another He's Watching filly will be competing here. In fact, a couple of them, the 2, Some Lucky Magic, and the 3, Wasaga. Wasaga did qualify here a week ago, finishing 6th, and will look to step up for trainer Les Posen and driver Jody Jameson. We'll talk a little bit more about this group of fillies momentarily, but first, here's Mark with that rundown from race 8.
Qualifier number 8, order of finish. Number 1, Action's Delight, was 4th. Number 2, Sea of Hope, was 6th. Number 3, Always Watching, the winner. Number 4, Cyclone Sister, 5th. Number 5, Lions Vanquish, 7th. Number 6, Watching Cassie, was 3rd. And number 7, The King's Queen, was 2nd. 4-6-1, 5-7-3-2, fractions 30-3, 58-4, 128-1, 157-3 for the winner. Number 3, Always Watching, 2-year-old filly by He's Watching, out of the Art Major mare, a Ravishing Masterpiece, owned by Wallace Standardbreds and Knobloch Racing Stable. Ben Wallace trained. Scott Young was in the sulky. $15,000 Lexington buy. 3rd full out of that Art Major mare. 157-3 the time of the mile.
A complete look at the field for the upcoming 9th. Number 5 is A Better Game, a filly who impressed here on June 12th in winning. The daughter of Better Than Cheddar scored by a head that morning with 28 2 final quarter speed. Came back last week and had a disappointing miscue late in the mile. Talked to Blake McIntosh just a little while ago during the break, and he said the filly dropped a knee boot in the stretch, and that's what caused the break a week ago. So nothing overly concerning, disappointing of course, but he thinks that she'll be better today. A filly that he says he's really liked all the way down, and one of the better ones in his barn. So we'll see if A Better Game can rebound after that little bit of bad luck last weekend in qualifying action. Number 6, Mare Traffic Control. First-time starter. Control the Moment, Mark. We've only seen a handful of his offspring here the last couple of weeks, but what we've seen, we've liked.
Yeah, we have, and I'll look to this one to see what she can bring in her debut qualifier, going for Connections John Craig and Bill Cass. Of course, they've teamed up, had a little success. You go back to Luck Be With You from several years ago. We'll see what this filly can bring in this 9th qualifier. It's funny you talk about we haven't seen too many Control the Moments. It felt like over the first couple weekends when we did see a Control the Moment, they ended up in the same qualifier together. There's only so many, and they were competing against each other, which is obviously going to hurt your chances at your final numbers. But I think there's been a good showing to this point. Here's a $21,000 buy from the Lexington sale, and debuts here this morning, and they'll use veteran reinsman Mike Saftik as he'll show her the ropes.
And one of the fillies who I think could be argued was the most impressive, or right among the most impressive a week ago, was Good Night Moon. The Big Jim filly came from a long way back to winter qualifier in 58-1 with a 27-second final quarter, and did it, I thought, in hand. We'll find out if that was the case today, if she can step up a little bit here. Isabel Darvaux, Rob Shepard teaming up with this one. And the gate is rolling for this morning's 9th.
Qualifier number 9. Scratch the 4, brings us down to a field of 7. Number 1, Spell Check Hanover, Captain Treacherous filly out of a well-said mare. Greg Mcnair, Ross Holmes, and Frank Brundle share ownership. Greg Mcnair trains, Doug Mcnair drives. $50,000 Harrisburg buy. 2, Some Lucky Magics, a He's Watching filly out of a Some Beach Somewhere mare. Homebred for David Lumsden. Anthony Beaton trains, Sylvan Filion in the sulky. 3, Wasega, a He's Watching filly, grin from ear to ear mare. Les Posen, owner, breeder, trainer, Jody Jameson in the bike. 4 is out. 5, A Better Game, better than Cheddar filly out of the Panda Rosa mare. Hut Racing Stable, Blake McIntosh, John Nislek, and Ridgeway Racing are the owners. Blake McIntosh trains, James McDonald drives. Number 6, Mare Traffic Control, Control the Moment filly out of an Arts Place mare. John Craig and Bill Cash share ownership. Cash trains, Mike Saftic drives. $21,000 Lexington purchase. 7, Goodnight Moon is a Big Jim filly out of a Cambest mare. 1187422 Ontario Incorporated is the owner. Isabel Darvaux trains, Robert Shepard drives. $30,000 Harrisburg buy. And on the outside, number 8 is Lions Anita. Lions Somewhere filly out of a Camluck mare. 3 Lions Racing owns. Mark Goddard trains, and Trevor Henry will drive. Off stride is number 5, A Better Game. Rest of them on gate, picking up speed, and here they come. They're off and pacing. Everybody looking around to see who's going to shoot out first, and it is Wasega who comes through for Jody Jameson. At the rail, Spell Check Hanover. Goodnight Moon wasn't in too much of a hurry at the beginning, but Shepard should be able to drop in third in front of Some Lucky Magic. Mare Traffic Control right on that rival's back as they enter the first turn. And then getting away 6 is Lions Anita, and trying to catch up from making that break at the start. A Better Game. Opening quarter, 30 and a fifth. So 30-1 opening quarter, courtesy of Wasega, who is on top here by about 3. So Jameson has her on the front, and now closing the gap in second is Spell Check Hanover. Racing third, Goodnight Moon, who's followed fourth by Some Lucky Magic. Then it's 2 lengths back to Mare Traffic Control, about 3 lengths to Lions Anita, and maybe that same margin to A Better Game as this group of 7 approaches the half. It's all Wasega in control, and this should be a decent second quarter as she races past the half in 59-3. So stepping it up there after a 30-1 opener. That's 29-2 in the second quarter, and they drive into the far turn. Second qualifier for Wasega. Closed out her qualifier a week ago with a 27-second kicker, and was timed at 58-1. She cuts it out this week as 5/8 of the mile is now in the books. Racing in second, Spell Check Hanover gets a little bit of urging, and Spell Check Hanover looking poised for a stretch bid. Already out from third, now comes Goodnight Moon. Then fourth is Some Lucky Magic, followed fifth by Mare Traffic Control. 128-4. They spin for home. The leader, and the leader since the word go, has been Wasega. Spell Check Hanover now angling out for Mcnair, looking to split her way through. And on the outside, this is Goodnight Moon. Less than an 1/8 of a mile to go. Goodnight Moon's got the short lead. Spell Check Hanover is coming on in the center, and hanging in there at the rail is Wasega, but it will be Goodnight Moon to take it. Spell Check Hanover second. Third was Wasega. Then it was A Better Game, followed by Some Lucky Magic, Mare Traffic Control, and Lions Anita. 156-3.
$56-3 for Goodnight Moon. She is now 2 for 2 in qualifying races, and again 27-4 on the end. That sub 28-second final quarter speed. Had to work a little bit harder though this time than a week ago, where she just simply idled up and went by them. Today a little bit of a dogfight in the home stretch. So good to see that the other 2 fillies who were sitting 1-2 were able to battle back and show some of that fight in the stretch, Mark. But I'm sure Darvaux and Shepard will be quite happy with that second consecutive qualifying win. Looks like she's ready to go.
Certainly does. Big Jim filly, 2 for 2 as you mentioned, a $30,000 Harrisburg buy. 14th foal out of the Cambest mare. Go for best. So there's plenty of a track record here in this family that you could go back and take a look at and see maybe where Goodnight Moon is going to stack up. But to your point about the other 2 there, Spell Check Hanover, and sometimes when you're listening in the call of a race, you can tell if the announcer thinks that somebody's looking good or is maybe going to be a winner. I thought Spell Check Hanover coming to 3/4. I thought just the way Doug Mcnair was sitting in the bike and the way that filly was starting to look like she was just ready to come out of the 2-hole in the lane. But they did some pacing home there, no doubt about it. and Goodnight Moon on the outside will get the short victory. Good for Wasaga there at the rail to hold on, as she was only maybe beat about a length. But to your point, you like seeing those battles here in the baby races. Sometimes you can get some blowout winners and some that draw away. There, a dogfight like you mentioned, and a good showing there in qualifier number 9.
And it's been a good showing so far today for Team Mcnair. Greg and Father Doug teamed up with several starters this morning, and they've been pretty prominent. And a good runner-up finish there with Saga. Another He's Watching that looks good right there, as they were 3 across the track in an impressive qualifier number 9. It goes to Goodnight Moon. She is now 2 for 2 in qualifying. 1:56 and a 3 is the win time. Again, if you are tuning in today and haven't done so yet, leave us a comment. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Tell us what you think of the coverage, or ask us a question, anything at all. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, for each of you that comment, you'll be automatically entered into a draw for a $250 Amazon gift card pack. Compliments of hoofbid.com, partnering on this live coverage along with COSA-TV of our baby races, both today and tomorrow. Again, looking forward to a 10-race session here tomorrow morning, where the Colts take center stage, both trotters and in fact, I think it is all pacers actually tomorrow. So all Colt pacers, part of the 10-race package here tomorrow. Hope you can join us again at 9:30 for that coverage. Today it's all 2-year-old fillies, trotters and pacers, and gives us a chance to quickly look ahead of the OSS schedule. Just starting for 2020, the Ontario Sire Stakes, and the first gold leg for 2-year-old filly pacers will be right here at Woodbine Mohawk Park on July 7th. So it'll be interesting to see how many of the fillies we're looking at today will surface for that first gold event. Again, it comes up here on July 7th. I think Mark has the rundown from the 9th, and then we'll turn our focus to qualifier 10.
Order finished from qualifier number 9. Number 1, Spellcheck Hanover was 2nd. Number 2, Some Lucky Magic 5th. Number 3 was Sega 3rd. Number 4 was Scratch. Number 5, A Better Game 4th. Number 6, Mare Traffic Control 6th. Number 7, Goodnight Moon the winner. And number 8, Lions Anita was 7th. 253, Scratch 461, 7 on the bottom. 30-1, 59-3, 128-4, 156-3 for the winner. Number 7, Goodnight Moon. She's a daughter of Big Jim out of the Cam Best mare Go for Best. 14th full out of that Cam Best mare. $30,000 Harrisburg buy, owned by 1187422 Ontario Incorporated, trained by Isabel Darvaux, and driven to victory here in 156-3 by Robert Shepard. Back-to-back qualifying scores to start for Goodnight Moon.
Just a couple of more left to hit the track here for the 10th. One that's looking to come back with a second consecutive win is Ring of Kerry, number 3. Ring of Kerry, a better than Cheddar, from the $403,000 winner, Marquis de Serra. Was a regular here on the WEG circuit. And Marquis de Serra has produced just 2 foals to this point. Ring of Kerry, the first one, and showed plenty of ability winning last week. Showed good gate speed early, forwardly spotted, took the lead, and then held on in a 56-1 mile with 27-1 final quarter speed. So this one coming back for a second tune-up, getting ready for what could be gold action. We talked about the first gold event of the season coming up here on July 7th. And Mark, we talked about it earlier as well. At this point, no real standout, none that you would say would clearly be a horse to beat coming into that first gold event, so it makes it very intriguing. We'll turn it over to Mark with the call of race 10 as the gate is rolling.
Qualifier number 10, 1 driver note. Number 1, Tiara Dancer, make the driver Mike Saftik. Here's the field. 1, Tiara Dancer. Owned, bred, and trained by Les Posen. Better than Cheddar filly, life sign mare, Mike Saftik drives. 2 is Siri Blue Chip. He's watching filly out of a no pan intended mare. Greg Mcnair, Jeffrey Skinner, and George Kerr share ownership. Greg Mcnair trains. Doug Mcnair drives. $42,000 Harrisburg buy. 3, Ring of Kerry is better than Cheddar filly out of a Mach 3 mare, owned and bred by Robert Bridges, trained by Anthony Beaton. Sylvan Filion will drive. 4, Cerrone Sealster, State Treasurer filly out of a Shadow Play mare. Nancy Moore and Michael Goldberg share ownership, along with Tyler Moore, who will do the driving for trainer Dr. Ian Moore, $15,000 London purchase. 5, She's in Control, is a Control the Moment filly out of a Riverboat King mare, owned by Warren Castley, who is also the breeder. Aaron Byron's the trainer driver. 6, Shiatsu Sealster, State Treasurer filly out of a Well-Said mare. 1876472 Ontario Incorporated, and Louis Philippe Wash your ownership. Richard Moreau is the trainer. Waugh does the driving. $36,000 London buy. 7 is Sports Fire, Sports Trader filly out of a Courage Under Fire mare, owned and bred by Fred Brayford. Dan Legacy trains. Bob McClure will drive. And number 8 is Early Bird Special. Denarbin Stables and Osceola Stables are the owner breeders of this Daughter of Better's Delight out of a Red River Hanover mare. Carmen Osceola trains. Jonathan Drury does the driving. Group of 8 for qualifier number 10 lined up, picking up speed, and here they come. And they're off and pacing. Sports Fire from the outside in her debut is going to leave off the wings well, and she'll look to cut across in front of everybody and lead them through the line for the first time. Siri Blue Chip at the inside is second, between rival Cerrone Sealster. On the outside going forward is Shiatsu Sealster. Then it is Ring of Kerry, who is followed on the pylons by Tiara Dancer. Not going to the rail just yet. That is She's in Control. And at the rear of the field is Early Bird Special to the opening quarter. Sports Fire is the leader, and she'll put up an opening panel of 30-4. Here's Sports Fire, the daughter of Sports Writer, debuting this morning, leading by 2 lengths. Shiatsu Sealster in second, racing in third is Siri Blue Chip. Then fourth, that is Ring of Kerry, a break of about 4 lengths going back to Cerrone Sealster in fifth. Tiara Dancer is sixth up the backside, racing seventh. She's in Control, and the trailer is Early Bird Special. Movement up at the front now. Here, coming up to take the lead is Siri Blue Chip, rushing to the top, and will touch down on the lead right at the half, which is on the board in 59-4. 29 seconds in the second quarter. A little bit quicker there for the new leader, Siri Blue Chip. Second qualifier for this Daughter of He's Watching. She leads them into the far turn. Sports Fire now will sit in the 2-hole. Racing in third, that is Shiatsu Sealster. And then in fourth, as they head around the far bend, that is for Filion, Ring of Kerry. And Ring of Kerry's under a pretty tight hold there, approaching 3/4. Getting a little closer from in fifth. Tiara Dancer up on the outside is Early Bird Special. She's in Control at the inside. 129-2 for 3/4. They're into the stretch. And as they come down the lane, this is Siri Blue Chip. And Siri Blue Chip is looking to open up. Sports Fire is back in second. Racing in third, Shiatsu Sealster. Now Ring of Kerry is looking to come on late from in fourth. They're into deep stretch. The leader continues to be Siri Blue Chip. Up the rail now. Here comes Sports Fire late, but it'll be Siri Blue Chip to hold on. Sports Fire was second. Tight for third between Ring of Kerry and Shiatsu Sealster. 158 flat for Siri Blue Chip.
Another good finish in qualifier 10. Siri Blue Chip, another win for Stallion He's Watching this morning. His second offspring to emerge victorious at 158. Another winner from the Greg Mcnair stable as well. Just holding on narrowly as Sports Fire closed well on the inside mark, and it really came down to a sprint. And Ring of Kerry finishes third this week. Sylvain really kept that one on the helmet as long as he could today, and just sprinted home. So I think the Connections would be happy with her as well.
Yeah, I think so. And looking at that qualifier there going into it, didn't get a chance to kind of say who was catching my eye, but I circled Sports Fire. We're going for Dan Legacy, owner breeder Fred Brayford. Here's one that is the fifth foal out of that mare and is related to Fireball. That's a sibling of this one. Fireball was one that I thought had plenty of talent racing in the Ontario Sire Stakes and made over $200,000. So I was curious to see what Sports Fire would have. And sure enough, Bob McClure sent her right to the top in this debut and ends up coming on late. Maybe there wasn't entirely enough room up the rail there at the line, but a good performance in a debut there for that one, while Siri Blue Chip is able to close it out. And like I mentioned, going to 3/4 in the call, Ring of Kerry was definitely ready to roll. And again, it's not about winning the qualifiers, it's how you do it, how you finish up, and good look there from that Better Than Cheddar filly.
So the last quarter there, 28-3, and several of them pacing hard at the wire. That's what you like to see. We've got 4 more left to go here this morning on a busy session, 13 races in total. The 11th coming out next. They're just making their way to the racetrack as we speak. Number 7 there was cut the line. They're Spittin' Chicklets, great name. Sports Raider from a Mach 3 mare, Miss Poppycock. Good second last week in qualifier number 1. Bruce McDonald trains this one for the Mardon Stables. Colin Kelly driving. $41,000 yearling purchase. And the Sports Riders have really shown up well here in the last couple of weeks. And we should mention the debut for this one at Georgian Downs last week. So 201-3 up there, 28-1 on the end over the 5/8 mile oval. And we'll get the first spin on the big track here today, again for the combination of Colin Kelly and Bruce McDonald. There's a look at the complete field here for
Qualifier number 10, order of finish. Number 1, Tiara Dancer was 5th. Number 2, Siri Blue Chip, the winner. Number 3, Ring of Kerry, 4th. Number 4, Sarone Sealster, 8th. Number 5, She's in Control, 7th. Number 6, Shiatsu Sealster, 3rd. Number 7, Sports Fire, 2nd. And number 8, Early Bird Special was 6th. 514-87326. Fractions were 30 and 4, 59 and 4, 129 and 2, 158 flat for the winner. Number 2, Siri Blue Chip, a 2-year-old filly by He's Watching, out of the no pan intended mare Southwind Swallow. She made $596,000 in her career. This is her 6th foal. Siri Blue Chip is owned by Greg Mcnair and Jeffrey Skinner along with George Kerr. Greg Mcnair trains Doug Mcnair on the bike. $42,000 Harrisburg bye. Wins her 2nd qualifier of the season. She was 6th last week. Here this morning, a winner in 1:58.
So the horses and drivers are making their way out for the 11th of the morning. One that's really interesting to have a look at here is Stone-Faced Jerry, the number 4. Ralph Jardine of Arthur bred this one and owns a daughter of Physically Inclined. And if you recognize that name, well, he's a horse that continues to race regularly on or near the top of the circuit here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. The Mach 3 Pacers closing in on $900,000 in career earnings. And he's bred just a handful of mares. He has 6 foals on the ground, and Stone-Faced Jerry, one of them, from a Matt Scooter mare named Matgillin, who's produced a couple of winners of $150,000 or more. So we'll get our first look at Stone-Faced Jerry here in the 11th. Karma Osiello, who in fact still conditions, physically inclined, will send out this starter teaming up with driver Jonathan Drury. Another one to have a look at is Our Little Miracle, another of the first timers today. A Better's Delight filly from the Mach 3 mare Mockingbird Princess. 2nd dam, respected and beloved, was a top class female pacer on this circuit for a number of years. And Our Little Miracle is the first foal from her daughter, Mockingbird Princess. Again, daughter of Better's Delight. And there's a look at the aforementioned Stone-Faced Jerry, getting set to exit the paddock area. She's a daughter of Physically Inclined, as mentioned. Some of these have already been in qualifying action. Annie's Legacy, the number 5, was 3rd a week ago. And that daughter of Control the Moment has Jody Jameson driving for Rob Fellows. Twin Bee Sunkissed, Francis Dumichel trains this one. And one that we saw winning from off the pace last week in 1:58-3. Bob McClure spoke highly of this filly earlier today during our intermission break and was looking forward to seeing what she could come back with for an encore here in her 2nd qualifier today in number 11. So, Mark, what was your impression of Twin Bee Sunkissed a week ago? What would you expect to see from her today?
Well, it was exactly kind of what I expected. I'd heard some rumblings about this filly before the baby races and how well she was training and coming along. So it was one that I had marked on my page to keep an eye out for, and she came through and delivered. So we'll see what she's got here for take number 2. I think they'd be real happy with that first effort now, and now it's up to them to decide what is the approach here. Last week it was coming from off the pace with a good final quarter. Maybe they'll be a little more aggressive here today. We'll find out. The gate's rolling. It's time for qualifier number 11.
Starting gate began to roll. The 11th qualifier, 2-year-old pacing fillies. Anthony McDonald drives number 7, Cut the Line. Here's the field. Number 1, Spittin' Chicklets. Sports Writer filly out of a Mach 3 mare. Mardon Stables owns. Bruce McDonald trains. Colin Kelly drives. $41,000 Lexington buy. 2 Let's Roar is a shadow play filly out of a Lifesign mare. Hut Racing Stable owns. Greg Mcnair trains. Doug Mcnair will drive. $13,000 Lexington grad. 3 Jackie of All Trades is a better than cheddar filly out of a Badlands Hanover mare. Anthony Beaton, David Mercer, and David Lumsden are the owners. Anthony Beaton trains. Sylvan Filion drives. $20,000 London buy. 4 is Stoneface Jerry, 2-year-old filly by Physically Inclined out of a Matt Scooter mare. Owned and bred by Ralph Jardine. Carmen Asiello trains Jonathan Drury in the bike. 5 Annie's Legacy is a Control the Moment filly out of a Some Beach Somewhere mare. Owned by Leonard Rosine. Rob Fellows trains. Jody Jameson drives. $26,000 London purchase. 6 Twinbee Sunkissed is a Sunshine Beach filly out of a Western Hanover mare. Owned by Francis Dumichel and Acurie CSL, along with 9174, 7998 Quebec Incorporated. Francis Dumichel trains. Bob McClure drives. $20,000 Harrisburg purchase. 7 is Cut the Line, a better than cheddar filly out of a Presidential All mare. The stable Cut the Line owns. Mario Barrajon trains. Anthony McDonald drives. $13,000 Lexington buy. 8 Our Little Miracle, Better's Delight filly out of a Mach 3 mare. Windermere stable. Robert Muscara, William Rocchetti, and Tanya Rocchetti are the owners. Chantel Mitchell trains. Louis Philippe Waugh drives. A $17,000 Harrisburg purchase. And they're off and pacing here in qualifier number 11. And driving out of there goes Twinbee Sunkiss. An aggressive approach this week. She's up on the move, going towards the front in the early going. Getting away second is Let's Roar. Racing third is Jackie of All Trades. And then getting away in fourth, that is Annie's Legacy, who appears to have some broken equipment. Then racing into fifth, that is Stone-Faced Jerry. Inside is Spittin' Chicklets. Up on the outside is Our Little Miracle. And the early trailer is Cut the Line. 29 and 1 the opening quarter. And here is Twinbee Sunkiss, and she swings them into the backstretch on top by about 4 lengths. It's Twinbee Sunkiss the leader. Let's Roar in second. Jackie of All Trades is in third. Racing in fourth is Annie's Legacy. Up the backstretch in fifth, that is Stone-Faced Jerry. And then racing sixth, that is Our Little Miracle, followed by Spittin' Chicklets and Cut the Line. The half is hit in 57 seconds even. 27 and 4 second quarter there for Twinbee Sunkissed, and she is charging along into the far turn, leading by a half dozen lengths. In second is Let's Roar. Racing third, Jackie of All Trades. Fourth is Annie's Legacy. Remaining in fifth is Stone-Faced Jerry, being followed sixth by Our Little Miracle, Spittin' Chicklets, and the last one, Cut the Line. 3/4 is hit in 1:26 flat. Turning for home, it's Twinbee Sunkiss the leader. Twinbee Sunkiss with the lead as they come into the lane. Trying to get closer from second is Let's Roar. Right on that one's back, and now starting to angle out for Filion is Jackie of All Trades. Also into the mix late is Annie's Legacy, but they're not touching Twinbee Sunkissed here. Twinbee Sunkiss going to make it back-to-back baby race scores, and she's coming towards the line. Going to win by about 5 here at the line over Annie's Legacy, who was in second. Third went to Jackie of All Trades. Then it was Our Miracle, followed by Spittin' Chicklets, Let's Roar, Stone-Faced Jerry, and Cut the Line. 1:56 flat for Twinbee Sunkissed.
.156 the win time for Twinbee Sunkissed. Just 30 seconds on the end, but appeared to simply be cruising and had it shut down, I think, over the final eighth of a mile. And you have to factor in the wind again, Mark. I wouldn't get overly concerned with that. As you saw, the others weren't really making a dent in the lead, and some pretty big fractions today for the filly, and a bit of a change of tactics for Twinbee Sunkissed. So showing already some versatility. She's got a big gait to her and covers the ground effortlessly. She's got a big to her ground effortlessly.
That's exactly kind of what I expected to see without knowing any better, but kind of hinted at it, that if last week it was the closing effort, here this morning, knowing the ability that this filly appears to have, they'd be ready to roll her, and that's what they do. Be interesting to see if what the intent was there in the second quarter. She might have been a little hot, but I don't think that really was the case too much because she looked pretty comfortable in the back half. And like you said, there was no need to get after her in the lane. She did that all on her own, coming home into that wind, which is still pretty stiff enough for a 156 mile for Twin Bee Sunkiss. Definitely one to have marked down, this daughter of Sunshine Beach, heading towards the OSS opener.
Number 5, Annie's Legacy. It looked to me coming under the wire, she might have had some broken equipment. I don't know if you caught that, and if so, impressive to see her keep it together and finish second like she did.
Yeah, there was something there early on in the race. I don't know if it was a head pull or whatnot, but it looked like something was dangling down early on when the field all passed by, and didn't get a great look at the finish line when she came through, but saw it at the start. So I thought that was a nice performance from her for a daughter of Control the Moment, who we talked about a little bit, going for Rob Fellows and owner Leonard Rosine. I think that was a nice performance from her to finish in second, getting a little closer as they got towards the line.
So things looking good at this point for driver Bob McClure as things shape up, getting ready for the stakes season. We saw him win earlier on the card, a good-looking youngster from the stable of Luke Blay on the training side. He's got a nice filly here in Twin Bee Sunkissed, the daughter of Sunshine Beach. She has now posted back-to-back qualifying victories here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. So we've got 2 more left to go. We'll let Mark get the rundown from that 11th, and we'll rejoin him in a moment. Let's turn our attention to race number 12. Another field of 7 set to line up behind the gate in this spot. A few first-timers in here. Among them, number 2, Indra Hanover, a betting line filly from the Casey Coleman Herlihy stable, $65,000 yearly. Bob McClure will get the driving assignment for this one, who's owned by the West Wind stable, Steve Heinbecker, Mac Nickel, and Dumaine Haven Farm. This one from the top pacing mare Ideal Newton. That daughter of Western Ideal was a career winner of $620,000, and she's passed on some of her talent in the breeding shed. Inverse Hanover closing statement, a couple of her offspring that have both earned in excess of $300,000. Indra Hanover occupies post 2 here this morning. Here's a look at number 6, Best Keepsake. Another one that's the product of a top pacing mare. Kelly's Keepsake, the mother of this one, a $530,000 career winner. And this daughter of Better Than Cheddar did qualify a week ago, was 6th and well off the pace early, flying late, missed by only 3/4 of a length with a 27-1 final quarter. Let's see what she's got for an encore here this morning. Good looking field of 7 coming up next, but here's Mark with the rundown from race 11.
Order of finish from the 11th qualifier. Number 1, Spittin' Chicklets was 5th. Number 2, Let's Roar 6th. Number 3, Jackie of All Trades 3rd. Number 4, Stoneface Jerry 7th. Number 5, Annie's Legacy 2nd. Number 6, Twin Bee Sunkissed the winner. Number 7, Cut the Line 8th. And number 8, Our Little Miracle was 4th. Top to bottom, 5, 6, 3, 7, 2, 1, 8, 4. Fractions were 29-1, 57 flat, 126, 156 flat for number 6, Twin Bee Sunkissed. Back-to-back baby race scores for this daughter of Sunshine Beach out of the Western Hanover mare, Western Heat. This is the 5th full out of that mare. And for Twin Bee Sunkissed, who's owned by Francis Dumichel, A Curie CSL, and 91747998 Quebec Incorporated, drops over 2 seconds off her time from a week ago of 158.3, stops the clock in 156 for trainer Francis Dumichel and driver Bob McClure, a $20,000 Harrisburg bye.
Fillies assembling in the backstretch. We will have a start of qualifier 12 in just a moment. Alamode Sealster, number 7, is another that'll be making the second appearance, gets the outside post. And another one from the Greg Mcnair stable. We've seen several from his barn today. And a few that fit this profile that didn't really show a whole lot last week in terms of performance and time, and hoping to step up and improve dramatically today. And from what we've seen so far from that stable, that has been the case with many of them. Diamonds Are Twined, Better Than Cheddar filly from post 5. A solid second last week in her qualifier in one of the fastest of the session, a 154.4 mile. No threat to the winner, but was clearly best of the rest on that day, and will look to lower the time a little bit more perhaps this morning. Starting gate on the move. A field of 7 moving in for Qualifier 12.
Qualifier number 12, field of 7, no changes. Number 1, Broadway Roll. Is a daughter of Roll with Joe out of a Matt Scooter mare owned by South Street Farm. George Teresa Rath, trained by Amy McDonald. Anthony McDonald will drive. 2, Indra Hanover is a betting line filly out of a Western Ideal mare. West Wind Stable, Steve Heimbecker, Mac Nickel, Domain Haven Farm are the owners. Casey Coleman Hurley, he trains. Bob McClure drives. $65,000 Harrisburg purchase. 3, CL Sports Extreme is a sports writer filly out of a Cam's Card Shark mare. Écurie C. LeBlanc is the owner breeder. Danny Fontaine trains. Chris Christoffrey will drive. 4, Steal Me a Treasure is a State Treasurer filly out of a Mach 3 mare. Lloyd Stone, Victor Putty, and Michael Horwood are the owners, along with 104-62217 Canada Incorporated. Victor Putty trains. Trevor Henry drives. $31,000 London buy. 5, Diamonds Are Twined, better than Cheddar filly out of an Arts Place mare. Yolanda Fellows, Blair Corbeil, and Arpad Zabo, the ownership group. Rob Fellows trains. Louis Watt drives. $11,000 Lexington purchase. 6, Best Keepsake is a better than Cheddar filly out of a Sportsmaster mare. Anthony Beaton, David Mercer, 215-6604 Alberta Inc. Michael Lindley are the owners. Beaten trained. Sylvan Filion drives. $30,000 Harrisburg purchase. And 7, Alamode Sealster, Sunshine Beach filly out of a Rock and Roll Hanover mare. Murray Cox owns. Greg McNair trains. Doug McNair drives. That's your field of 7. For the 12th, they're picking up speed, and here they come. And they're off and pacing. Driving from the center, there is Steal Me a Treasure, who comes through to the early lead. Indra Hanover second. At the rail, that is Broadway Roll. And then on the outside is Best Keepsake, who's up there forwardly placed. Getting away in 5th, that is CL Sport Extreme. Followed 6th by Alamode Sealster and an early breaker, Diamonds or Twine. Into the first turn they go, and seizing the front, Steal Me a Treasure. Opening quarter, 30-4, courtesy of Steal Me a Treasure. Settling in second, Best Keepsake is comfortable to track the leaders every move for the time being as they straighten out into the backstretch. Going 2 lengths back then to Indra Hanover, who is in 3rd. Racing in 4th is Alamode Sealster. In front of 5th, CL Sport Extreme, Broadway Roll, and then last is Diamonds Are Twine, who made the break in the early going. Up to the half they come. Steal Me a Treasure is at the midway point in 1 minute and 2/5. Minute and 2/5, the half mile clocking 29-3 in the second quarter. Pacing fillies go into the far turn. And the daughter of State Treasurer, Steal Me a Treasure, is the leader by nearly 2 lengths. Best Keepsake trying to stick right with her as they go by 5/8. Then it's a break of about 5 or 6 going to Indra Hanover, who is being followed by Broadway Roll. And off stride when Indra Hanover got taken to the safety lane while racing there in 3rd. 1:28-4, the 3/4 time. So they did some stepping there in that 3rd panel. They're off the turn and into the stretch. The leader continues to be Steal Me a Treasure. Now here comes Best Keepsake on the outside. Then it's well back to Broadway Roll, CL Sport Extreme, and Alamode Sealster into the final 8th. And Best Keepsake has come by to take the lead. Best Keepsake, the daughter of Better Than Cheddar, is going to win this week, and she'll come to the line in front by about 2.5 lengths. Second goes to Steal Me a Treasure. 3rd was CL Sport Extreme over Broadway Roll, Alamode Sealster, Indra Hanover, and Diamonds Are Twine, 157-3.
Best Keepsake showing that last week's effort certainly was no fluke, not an anomaly. She comes right back with an impressive win today. Pretty much in hand, I think, doing it. 57-3 the win time for this daughter of Better Than Cheddar from Kelly's Keepsake. Emerges victorious. Came charging late last week, Mark, to fall just short, and today more forwardly placed and a really professional effort in winning in 57-3. What do you think? I mean, again, the wind really gusting. It's sunny. It's very nice out, but that wind's wreaking havoc in the home stretch. Is this a filly gives you the impression she may be ready to try the gold level off the bat or grassroots? What do you think from that effort?
It's easy for me to say from up here that I would think trying the gold. I like to see most of these 2-year-olds at least attempt the gold off the bat, see where they stack up. Of course, everyone's going to have a different agenda, but this daughter than better than Cheddar has looked good in 2 consecutive weeks now. And whether that was a 27-1 last quarter last week to finish just short, that was really good. Here today, as you said, I think a good word to describe it was a professional performance, coming out there in the lane and just doing what she had to do to go by to win. So I like what I've seen there from Best Keepsake, a $30,000 Harrisburg buy, and a daughter better than Cheddar. So those Ontario Stallions were spreading out the wins a little bit here this morning.
Yeah, better than Cheddars have looked good. And a state treasurer filly in the runner-up spot there, Steal Me a Treasure, the roan daughter of that stallion. Second after finishing third a week ago, and looking pretty good doing all of the road work this morning as well. Just one more left to go. We are up to qualifier number 13, and another field of 8 getting set to assemble for this finale. A look there at Paul McDonnell. He trains and drives Always a Beach Day, owned by the Schooner 2 stable of Truro, Nova Scotia. Also bred this one. Always Be Mickey from the Sun Beach Somewhere Dam, Queensland Beach, and just her second foal. The first foal was better at high tide. Pretty solid performer, winner of almost $100,000 so far in his career. Always Beach Day, making the career debut here this morning, and will be one of 4 in that same boat. Extrilla Hanover, post 8 starter, also makes the first appearance, a $55,000 yearling purchase, daughter of Betting Line from Rock and Roll Hanover mare Easy Rock. And this one is a sibling to Examiner Hanover. Examiner Hanover is the son of He's Watching, campaigned by Casey Coleman Herlihy. And that one, just a couple of starts back now into his 3-year-old campaign. He was a $160,000 winner last year at age 2. So here's Mark with the complete finish order from race 12, and we'll talk a little bit more about the 13th and final next.
Order of finish from qualifier number 12. Number 1, Broadway Roll was 4th. Number 2, Indra Hanover 6th. Number 3, CL Sport Extreme 3rd. Number 4, Steal Me a Treasure 2nd. Number 5, Diamonds Are Twine was 7th. Number 6, Best Keepsake the winner. And number 7, Outlaw Mode Sealster was 5th. 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 1, 5 is your order of finish. Fractions 30 and 4, a minute 2/5, 128 and 4, 157 and 3 for the winner, number 6, Best Keepsake. She's a daughter of Better Than Cheddar, out of the Sportsmaster mare Kelly's Keepsake, owned by Anthony Beaton, David Mercer, 215-6604 Alberta Inc., and Michael Lindley. Anthony Beaton trained Sylvain Filion in the sulky, second qualifier for Best Keepsake. First time she's across the line first, gets a mark of 157 and 3. She was a $30,000 yearling purchased out of the Harrisburg sale last November. One more to go on this Friday morning here at Woodbine Mohawk Park.
There is number 8, Extrilla Hanover, stepping onto the racetrack. And I think they are all out there at this point. Number 1, Miss Shannon Beach, another first-timer. Danny Fontaine training, Chris Christopherou driving. Sunshine Beach filly from the Jenna's Beach Boy mare Shannon Deja Vu. She didn't do a whole lot in her racing career, but she's been a very good producer. Shannon Deja Vu has produced 7 winners of more than $100,000. And Miss Shannon Beach just stepping onto the racetrack now. Good look at her on screen. And a nice-looking daughter of Sunshine Beach, who has already been prominent in today's qualifying session. And there's a look at the pedigree details on that one, owned by Écurie Gaetan Bono Inc. of Laval, Quebec. Sono Bello, the number 5, will have Nick Stewart driving for Vic Putty. Putty sending out a third-place finisher back in qualifier 12. This daughter of He's Watching, finishing 5th last week in her qualifier. He's Watching from a sports writer mare, Southwind Gloria, 5th. Did pace home in 28 and 2 in the qualifier, individually timed in 157 and 2. So I'm sure the connection's relatively happy with that one. Sunshine in May, the number 7's another Sunshine Beach filly sent out by the stable. She miscued early last week and will look for a big rebound this time out for trainer Kevin McMaster, driver Anthony McDonald. Gate rolling for today's 13th and final.
Time now for our 13th and the final qualifier on this Friday here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. 2-year-old pacing fillies. It's a field of 8. There are no changes. Number 1 is Miss Shannon Beach, a 2-year-old filly by Sunshine Beach out of a Jenna's Beach Boy mare, owned by Écurie Gaetan Bono, trained by Danny Fontaine. Chris Christoffrey will drive. 2 is Cold Freeze, a 2-year-old filly by Sports Rider out of a Cam's Card Shark mare, owned by Scott McEnany, Mart West Racing Stable, Cora Marshall, and Jeffrey Kirshnes. Scott McEnany trains. Trevor Henry drives. $7,000 London buy. 3, Georgia January. She's a shadow play filly out of a Northern Luck mare, owned and bred by Alan Fair and Elizabeth Fair. Alan Fair trains Tyler Moores in the sulky. 4, Always a Beach Day is an Always Be Mickey filly out of a Some Beach Somewhere mare, owned and bred by Schooner 2 Stable. Paul McDonnell is the trainer driver, a $40,000 Lexington grad. 5 is Sono Bello, a He's Watching filly out of a Sports Writer mare, owned by Johnny Marvento and Joe Arcaro, trained by Victor Putty. Nick Stewart will drive. 6, Marvelous Kiss, a Better's Delight filly out of an Arts Place mare. Yolanda Fellows and Erna Corbeil share ownership. Rob Fellows trains. Louis Waugh will drive. $33,000 London grad. 7 is Sunshine in May, Sunshine Beach filly out of a Camluck mare. The stable Sunshine in May owns. Kevin McMaster trains. Anthony McDonald drives. And 8 is Extrilla Hanover, betting line filly out of a Rock and Roll Hanover mare, owned by Westwind Stable. Brad Grant, Steve Heimbecker, and Howard Taylor. Casey Coleman Hurley, he trains. Bob McClure drives. $55,000 Harrisburg purchase. So for the final time today, there are off-fan pacing, and the 2-year-old pacing fillies. We'll see Sono Bello drive out to the early lead. Coming through in the center as well as Marvelous Kiss. To her inside is Always a Beach Day. Extrilla Hanover started on the far outside, is currently on the outside in 4th. Tight hold under Sunshine in May. Miss Shannon Beach, and then it is Georgia January, with the final one being, as they go into the turn, Cold Freeze. The opening quarter is going to be put up on the board in 31 seconds flat. That was courtesy of Sono Bello and Nick Stewart, who lead them by 2 lengths, straightening out into the backstretch. Marvelous Kiss is in 2nd, then 3 lengths back to Always a Beach Day in 3rd. Racing 4th is Extrilla Hanover, followed then in 5th by Sunshine in May. 2-length break back to Miss Shannon Beach, who is 6th. 7th is Georgia January, and from the back getting underway is Cold Freeze. Coming up towards the half, and right now it is all Sono Bello. She's calling the shots. She's past the half in a minute and a fifth. The half, 29 and 1 second quarter, and they race into the far turn. Lead is growing a little bit. Hits out to about 3 lengths here. In 2nd is Marvelous Kiss. Then it's a break of about 5, going back to Always a Beach Day. 4 lengths then to Extrilla Hanover, who is being followed by Sunshine in May. Then it is Miss Shannon Beach, and the final 2, Georgia January and Cold Freeze on the outside, coming to 3 quarters, and it is continuing to be the Sono Bello show, 128 and 4. So they turn for home off a solid 3rd quarter there of 28 and 3 into the stretch. It's all Sono Bello, and the daughter of He's Watching doesn't look like she'll get touch. She is being urged on home to finish off this mile well. She leads by about 7 or 8 lengths. Back in 2nd, that is Marvelous Kiss. Driving into 3rd, Extrilla Hanover, always a Beach Day. Here is Sono Bello to win the finale. 2nd was Marvelous Kiss. Extrilla Hanover was 3rd. Then Always a Beach Day, followed by Miss Shannon Beach, Georgia January, Sunshine in May, and Cold Freeze was 8th, 158 flat.
A solid victory in the 13th and final for number 4, Sono Bello. Straight to the front and does not look back on this morning. With Nick Stewart driving, the daughter of He's Watching, victorious in 158, 57 and 4 back half speed to score on this morning. So that is going to cap off today's qualifiers. It's going to cap off a good day for Stallion He's Watching. So another name emerges here this morning, Mark. We've talked about Better Than Cheddar last week, Sports Writer. Establishing themselves, and now here's He's Watching with 3 winners on the card, and they've all looked impressive.
Definitely was, and you know what that says? It shows that this program in Ontario, it's pretty deep, and that's what we want to see. You want to see that heading into the 2-year-old campaigns, that there are a lot of stallions who are being well represented, and it's going to be across the board. Again, you always have those standouts, but hey, we talked about maybe that second tier and who would emerge, and right now it shows that we'll have some good battles on our hands. So it'll be something fun to track, and we'll see what the Colts have to say tomorrow, as it'll be all pacing Colts on tomorrow's agenda.
And when people scour over the results today online, they're not going to be blown away by the win times, and I think it's important to temper what we saw today with a recap of weather conditions. It's a nice day, don't get me wrong. It's a nice, warm, sunny day, but the wind's really gusty, and I think they're working pretty hard in the home stretch today. It's hitting them head on, and we're seeing that. So we're not seeing those flashy final quarters like we did a week ago.
No, we didn't, and it's funny that this has been the case now for a couple of these baby race sessions, because I know it can get windy here at Mohawk Park. I'm here every day, but it just seems that this weather's been a little unusual. We've gone from some real extremely hot days, we've had some cooler days, and the wind has definitely become a bit of a factor. We had a lot of wind earlier in the week here on Tuesday night's card. It got very windy at one point. That area that you're sitting down there in, Greg, tents were almost flying away. So I don't know what's going on right now with Mother Nature, but she is definitely sending the wind this way right now to Mohawk Park. So we'll hope for tomorrow morning's session that maybe the wind isn't as much of a factor, and anything like this with the sun shining and a similar temperature would be fantastic.
Exactly. So we'll be back here tomorrow. Mark, thank you again for all your great work today, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Get some rest, and I'm sure you'll be back here working tonight with live racing set to go as well. So we'll remind you of that quickly. Live racing here, of course, tonight and tomorrow, and another set of baby races tomorrow morning. We'll have the coverage for you once again here on COSA-TV beginning at 9:30. Let's take a look at that poll question once again that we put up earlier on the show. We wanted to know which of these trainers you thought would be the biggest factor this year in the Ontario Sire Stakes program. And we gave you 4 to choose from. Greg Mcnair, who was very busy today and had a very productive morning. So who knows, it may have changed some people's minds as we went on with the qualifiers today. John Bax had a quartet of starters and good results. Bob McIntosh and Blake McIntosh were also included. So all 4 of these gentlemen, of course, have had a tremendous record in the provincial program over the years, and at one time or another have been the leading trainer in the program. So we wanted to know which one you think will have the biggest impact this year. And not surprisingly, it was a pretty good race in our poll today, but Bob McIntosh comes out slightly on top with 37% of the vote. Blake McIntosh not far behind at 35%. Greg Mcnair with 23% of the vote. So we want to thank you for having your say, and thank you for commenting today. For each of you who did drop us a comment today, and again tomorrow, you'll be entered into that draw for another $250 Amazon gift card. Great prize giveaway, compliments of hoofbid.com. They've got another online auction coming up this Sunday night. Check them out at hoofbid.com, and the app available in the Apple Store or at Google Play as well. And don't forget the Ontario Sire Stakes getting set to gear up. 2-year-old fillies who were the center stage today will have the first gold event for the Filly Pacers coming up here on July 7th. First grassroots event right here at the same venue coming up on July 10th. It's going to be a lot of fun as we look forward to that. We want to thank you again for joining us here today and remind you to join us bright and early once again tomorrow morning. More baby races right here at Woodbine Mohawk Park beginning at 9:30, and we'll have it for you on COSA-TV.
COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSAonline.com.